All right, let's see if I can do this today without all the complications that I've had with this live stream. I guess that's probably why I haven't done one in a while. For whatever reason, YouTube gets a little cranky at times with third-party software. Like right now, I'm using a GoPro for this, but for whatever reason, it just doesn't like it sometimes. So, we have to just kind of play it by ear. So, anyway, today, let's see here. I'm trying to find this on my pull this up on my iPad, so it makes it a little bit easier on the live stream. That way I can watch, see if there's any comments or whatever, but should make it a little bit easier to follow along if you guys got any questions. Let's see here. All right. Today, like I said, I want to show you guys some my top 5, I guess, hand tools I use in the garage. I use them quite frequently. Looks like I got the live stream all set up right, so I guess holler at me if the audio is not good, or yeah, looks like the video is good. So anyway, I just want to show you a couple of things that I use quite frequently here in the garage. Now, some of this stuff is kind of, I'm not a metal worker. I'm not a woodworker. I can put things together. I can assemble things fairly easy. I'm not too bad with, figuring out things, but some of the stuff that I'm going to show you is kind of related to the metalworking side of things, but don't be afraid of that. There are so many things that you can do and learn with metal that are not that complicated, not that hard. And so a couple of these tools I'm going to show you deal specifically with metalworking, but I don't want you to freak out about that and think, well, I can't weld, whatever. And I may do start doing some welding tutorial type stuff as well, just because it's not that complicated. But there's a ton of that content already out on YouTube. Very honestly, if you cannot weld today, go to Harbor Freight, or if you're in Canada, go to Princess Auto or whatever, and get yourself a cheap flux core welder and teach yourself how to weld. It's not that difficult. You'll get it figured out fairly quickly. Don't be afraid of it. This is the whole point about working on cars and having fun like that, is try different things and try out some new stuff. So anyway, I'm going to show you a couple of tools that I use that fit into almost not every day, but some of these pretty doggone close. One real basic set of tools that I use is just a nice little hammer and dolly. Now, you can buy these anywhere. This just happens to be I didn't really plan it this way, but this happens to be a match set of, some very inexpensive. I think these are both made by Bondo. They are. So I'm not sponsored by Bondo, but if Bondo wants to sponsor me, I'm pretty cool with that. But anyway, you will use these very, very frequently. Anytime you need to bend sheet metal, you've got a little bit of, finish work if you bend up some and cut some sheet metal, or some some very thin material that you need to kind of work around something to make it fit a little bit better, fit a little bit nicer. Throttle control, I've used it quite a bit on that. It's not all body type stuff, but this hammer especially, you're going to use fairly frequently because it's light, it's very, very easy, it's got a nice little point on one end, and just makes things very, very simple. I use that type of hammer. I've got 5 or 6 of them laying around here. I'm kind of surprised there's not another one in here, but I use hammers like that very frequently because you don't always require you to beat on it with a with a sledgehammer to get it done. So anyway, those 2 tools for sure I use very, very frequently, and just simply because they're so versatile, and you're gonna need them for sure. Next thing, we just talked about this in a video, but certainly I wanted to talk about it again just simply because it's such a great tool. And if you haven't watched the video on assembling a set of spark plug wires, go ahead and do that. It's not complicated. This tool is cheap. It's under 50 bucks. And if you've got one in your toolbox, your buddies are going to be borrowing it from you all the time. And you can charge them a 6-pack or something like that to borrow it for a weekend or whatever, and let them assemble their own as well. Custom wire sets are not that complicated, and quite honestly, it's the best route for doing your own set of wires. So don't discount those. They're very, very useful, very, very handy. Let me see. Look at the live stream here. If you're watching, which it looks like I got one person on right now. If you're watching, let me know if the audio is good. I just want to make sure I'm not wasting your time and my time, I guess. But what else we got? One other thing that I use quite frequently when you're trying to assemble some things, metalworking side, mostly it's with sheet metal, and occasionally I'll build some stuff out of some 18 gauge or 16 gauge sheet metal before I weld it up, and you need to kind of hold some things together. Now, quite frequently you will use a magnet to get that job done, and sometimes you can do that and it's fine, and you don't have any issues, and it'll hold what you need to hold. But there are other times when you just can't fit a big heavy magnet in there. It doesn't get you where you need to go. The bend isn't a 90 degree or something flat where you can kind of put the two pieces together, whatever. And that's where this next tool is very, very handy. And again, I use these very, very frequently. These are Clecos, is what I guess they're commonly called, and all these is you drill a hole in whatever two pieces of material you're trying to hold together. This fits down in here, and as you squeeze it, this end fits down into the hole. You fix it in there, release it, and this catches on it and will hold those two pieces of metal together. You've probably seen these in some fabrication type shows or whatever, where you see some two pieces of sheet metal they're getting ready to weld or whatever, and you see a bunch of these kind of sticking up. That's all they're for, is just to hold it together. Now, you do have to drill some holes to get them to work, but I'll tell you that when you're doing like floor pans, transmission tunnel, which I'm just getting ready to finish up again on the Chevelle here, you'll use the heck out of these things. They're absolutely priceless because you just don't have any you don't have any problem with holding things where they need to go. Make some tack welds, and you can pull these back out and kind of finish out some, the weld the hole back up, whatever, and a little bit of seam sealer, and you're good to go. But use these very, very frequently. And one of my most favorite tools, my dad gave me these probably, late 90s, mid 90s, somewhere in there, and I've used the heck out of them ever since, and I've got probably hundreds of these things laying around in the shop. But they are certainly a very, very valuable tool. So they're not that expensive. I think you can buy them on Amazon. I can throw some links down below, but pretty much anywhere, maybe even Harbor Freight, or like I said, Princess Auto, or somebody might have them. But very, very useful, very, very handy. And then somewhere, yeah, I always keep a drill bit in with it, just that way I've got the right size drill bit for it. But anyway, that is a very, very useful tool. Like I said, I use it very often, and for the most part, if you're doing any type of fabrication work, and like I said, don't get hung up on not knowing how to weld. That's probably one of the easiest things that there are to learn, because you can kind of teach yourself. If you can buy yourself or find some scrap metal and a good cheap flux core welder. It's dirty, they're nasty, they're kind of a little aggressive to deal with at times, but for the most part, you're not looking for perfect. What you're doing is you're trying to learn how to weld. You're trying to learn how much penetration is needed to form those two pieces of material together. You're learning how to push the weld. You're learning how to weld in different angles, and setup of the machine and all that. So again, it's not complicated, but after a couple of weeks of playing around with it, you know, for a couple hours a day in the shop, you can weld good enough that you can pretty much weld anything you need to. Now, again, you're going to start buying other tools that you weren't ready for, like, you know, the Clecos or the hammer and the dolly, or, you know, big drill presses or some, you know, materials to form the metal with. But, you know, for the most part, it is well worth having it. So again, I might do a video on that, you know, the kind of the cheap way to do it, and kind of just show you some things. But like I said, there's so many really good welding channels out there on YouTube and you know, Instagram, whatever. So those are probably, you can probably find all that info. But again, don't hesitate, jump right in there. Your car and your hobby will thank you, because you don't have to rely on anybody for any of that stuff. So Cleco tool, we'll try to leave a link down in the description below too after this thing, and let you know where I found those. But anyway, I guess let's see what else is going on here. I guess the audio is good, because I got 3 people watching now, and nobody's telling me that they can't hear anything. So I am assuming everything's good to go. And if you've got any questions for me, now's a good time to ask them. I'll answer pretty much anything. I'm not too much of a closed book, but I do work in the automotive aftermarket. I have for, other than the 8 years I spent in the Army, I did work, have worked in it ever since I got out of high school in the late 80s. So I've got a lot of experience with a lot of product, a lot of manufacturers, and it kind of gives you a little bit of an insight, not on what's good and what's bad, because there's a lot of really good product out there, but there's some that's better than others, that's for sure. So, you know, it's just always it's always a nice thing to be able to share a little bit of that, because sometimes you'll watch some of these YouTube channels and, you know, you'll see somebody talking about this, you know, fuel regulators are best on the market, and come to find out they you know, called that company, got them to sell it to them at a very, very cheap price, and to pay for a sponsorship for a video. And I don't do that. I've never had to. I have a good paying job. I've got, you know, lots of other things going on. I don't really need that. But if you have any questions about any of that stuff, and I may do a video on that too one of these days, you know, like an introduction to the aftermarket type of thing. But if you watch any of my SEMA videos and PRI videos, for sure, you know, you'll see a lot of stuff that I get to see, and I don't mind showing that to you. It's kind of fun, but you know, you can see a lot of that anywhere as well. One of the last tools I want to show you here, and I did a video on this thing already, but if you do any type of hose, routing, fuel line, return lines, whatever, this is one of the most handy tools that I've ever had. There's a couple of different manufacturers of this, but this one's actually made by Edelbrock and their Russell brand, and it came out maybe 3-4 years ago. I saw it at SEMA, and I got to play with it a little bit there, and of all the ones on the market, it's just about the easiest one. So, you know, I figured, what the heck, I'd buy one. They were not cheap. This is not a cheap tool, but I will tell you, if you are doing push lock type hose, and I did a video on this as well already too, but if you are doing push lock type hose, if you try to jam these together yourself, you can. There's no doubt about it. You can muscle them together, but after doing a dozen or so of these, your hands are going to be so shot and a little torn up, and it's just not worth it. So I've got a piece of hose here and a Dash 8 straight fitting here. I'll show you how it goes together. It is very, very simple. Hose end, make sure you get it cut off straight. Again, I did a video on this already to show you all the tools and some of the little do's and don'ts on how to do this. But anyway, the hose just slides in there. The fitting goes into a die. This one happens to be a Dash 8. I think there's Dash 10, Dash 6, and maybe a Dash 12. I can't remember, but the most common ones anyway. And then the fitting just goes in there like that. I'll lock the hose down here. You don't want too much of it sticking out of there, or as you try to squeeze this together, it'll kind of make it flip over. But once it's started into the hose, then just kind of guide a little bit, twist it, and you can see it fitting down very, very easily in there. And that is it. You have created a -8 straight hose end, and all good. But yeah, like I said, that is the one of the slickest tools, because literally you can put these together and, you know, go very quickly and assemble an entire fuel system in pretty quick order. So absolutely love that about that. But yeah, again, that tool's not cheap, but it is well worth the money you'll spend on it. And I'll leave a link to that video as well, so you can kind of see that if you want to. But another one that's just a very, very good time saver, and one that really helps keep your hands from you know, destroying each other as you're trying to do these things. So anyway, it's one of my favorites, and again, it's not cheap. Some of this stuff is, the Clecos aren't too bad. You'll spend, you know, 60, 70, 80 bucks, I think, total, if you just want to, you know, 100 or so of them. But the tools, the wire tools, 50 bucks, and then you can probably buy a cheaper hammer and dolly than those Bondo ones. But you know, I think you can buy those at any auto parts store and get them fairly reasonable, or again, Harbor Freight or whatever. So so most of these aren't too expensive, but that one for sure is. And but it's well worth it. Sometimes you got to spend a little bit of money on tools, and again, you throw that one in your toolbox, and your buddies are borrowing it, and you know, buying beer for you to borrow it. So still got a couple people watching. I guess, like I said, if you got any questions, don't hesitate, you know, throw them in the chat. I'm trying to watch my iPad here to see if you guys got anything, but what else to talk about today? I have one more thing, obviously, but I can't show it to you. The camera's kind of set up, but we talked about a welder a minute ago, and we were talking about the Clecos and the hammer and dolly and stuff, and getting yourself into welding. Probably 7-8 years ago, I bought a Miller-Matic 140. It is not a very inexpensive welder. It's actually a little bit more money, but the nice thing about the Miller-Matic is setting up the wire feed, the heat, all that is fairly simple. It's not nearly as complicated as some of the older welders, and if you can find a good Miller-Matic for used, that's probably your best bet. Again, that welder has made me a better welder than what I actually am, because of the setup of the tool. It's pretty remarkable, actually, how much better my welding got when you know, you take some of the heat settings and the wire speed settings out of the equation. I may do a video on that as well, just simply because that welder in of itself has paid for itself many times over. I can't remember what I paid for it. I bought it used. It was fairly lightly used. I don't think the guy had it for more than a couple of years, but very I think I paid $700 for it, something like that, and I got the little cart to go with it. So anyway, well worth it. But I didn't want to throw it up here on the counter, and I can't really drag the camera over there to show it to you because of all the other crap hooked up to it right now for the live stream. But anyway, that's probably the last one, I guess, in the useful tools. Like I said, if you're a little terrified of welding, or you're just not quite sure if you can do it, you don't want to spend money to go get trained on it, or you know, you're not quite sure how to set the machine up, whatever it is, it's not complicated. Like I said, you work a little bit with a flux core welder, and spend 3-4 months on it, probably, welding up a bunch of junk material, and trying to weld up a few things that you may end up using for stuff, and you'll figure it out pretty quickly. But excellent piece of equipment, and for whatever reason, you're just not going to get anything better in it. So anyway, let me see what's on the live stream here. Man, y'all are quiet today. Not a doggone question in there at all. Like I say, I'll answer anything pretty much at this point. Actually, I got something cool to show you here before I take a drink of Mountain Dew. I picked these up the other day, and I don't know if you've seen these before. I'm going to walk over here so don't know if that shows up on the live stream very well, but that is a blown up cylinder head out of a top fuel car run by none other than Mr. Connie Coletta. I don't know if you see how big those runners are. I haven't measured them yet, but I can't tell you how big those are, but they are massive. Pretty gnarly. But yeah, big Hemi chambers in it. I don't know what he did when he destroyed these, but dropped a valve or broke something, and it wadded that one up pretty good. But you know, typically I think most of those guys get, you know, 30, 40 passes out of them, and then they start to get a little nervous about the core shifting in it. But for whatever reason, that is a big gnarly set of cylinder heads, and I got the pair of them, so it was kind of cool. I don't know what I'm going to do with them quite yet, but they'll go in the shop somewhere, or maybe I'll make something out of them. But yeah, just thought I'd show you those. I just picked these up the other day. Actually, they were we had them at work, and they were going to go to scrap, and I figured, what the heck, I'll take them. And you know, it's kind of a cool memento to have. So anyway, what else we got here? Again, no questions in the live stream, man. I'm a little I guess it's Sunday. I don't know what time it is where you're at, so maybe you're you know, you're still drinking your coffee or finishing your breakfast or whatever. But I don't even know what time it is here right now. It's about 12:45. So anyway, again, I just wanted to show you those tools. You know, nothing you're going to do here is complicated, and sometimes the fear of it is the worst thing in the world. But you know, if you can you know, get past a little bit of the fear and the unknown of something, like with welding, hey, it's a skill that you'll use quite frequently throughout your you know, your time working in the shop. So don't hesitate to do that. So anyway, that's all I had for you guys today. But anyway, I just wanted to do a quick live video. I didn't do an actual edited video this week. It's been kind of chaotic, you know, towards the end of the month, and it's just been a rough week. So I haven't really had time to do anything. I've got tons of things I want to show you guys, and tons of stuff that I need to update you on. The transmission tunnel in the Chevelle has been fighting me. I have to recut and re-weld up the cross member again today because I epically screwed that up. But no big deal. Cross members are fairly easy to get a hold of, and I'll do that one here probably sometime this week, and hopefully that'll all go well together, and I can get that video up here in a week or two or whatever. But anyway, if you have any questions or have any you know, thoughts or ideas of what you want me to show you, you know, in any of these videos, don't hesitate. I try to post a picture of something cool I'm working on, or something going on, you know, every week. And if you got any ideas, you know, drop me a note, and you know, kind of let me know what you're thinking. But you know, if any of the other videos that I've done too, if you know, I try to respond to every question that you guys have, because I know it sucks when you comment on somebody's YouTube, you know, video looking for some you know, response on something, and you never get anything. So I try to keep up with that pretty aggressively. So anyway, I guess that's it. Yeah, nothing in the live stream, man. I'm a little surprised by that. You know, usually, like I said, you guys are pretty vocal on there. So I don't know, maybe you guys are still asleep or something. But anyway, that's it. Wait a second. Oh, my buddy Skip. I've known Skip practically my entire life, so I would not surprising that he left me a comment there. I'm surprised that it was able to publish it without any four-letter words in it, but I appreciate that, Skip. anyway, I guess that's it. Like I said, I'll have another video out. I'm trying to do these probably on Sundays. Now, it just seems like there's more people online that day for me. So Sundays or Tuesdays, I've tried to do videos here over the last couple of months. And, hopefully that's, made a little bit of a difference when you see, consistent, content and video and stuff like that. So anyway, again, if you got any questions, don't hesitate. I'm always open to anything you guys want to talk about on the comments or the video content of the video that I'm doing at the time, or past videos, whatever. Again, I try to answer those pretty regularly. So not a certainly not a professional shop owner or anything like that, but I've done this for, well, I won't even really tell you, but it's when I started working on cars with my dad as a kid, I've got almost 40 years of doing this, so I've seen a lot of things and made a lot of mistakes and worked through a lot of problems and gotten to figure out how to do it the right way, wrong way, whatever. So anyway, I appreciate y'all watching. And for sure, if you haven't subscribed already, please do that. Hit the like button if you had fun today watching the video. It certainly helps me out quite a bit. It doesn't cost you anything. YouTube certainly likes that when people do that, because for whatever reason, and if you've watched any of those videos on how YouTube works, it's a bit of a pain in the butt sometimes with it and trying to get your videos out there in front of people. So, anything you can do like that with commenting or, likes and subscribes and all that, YouTube likes that stuff, because it just means that you had a good time watching it and you stuck around. So anyway, that's it. Like I say, I don't know what the next video is going to be. I've got, like I say, 3 or 4 things kind of up in the air right now, and some video I've already shot for quite a few things, but we'll just have to see what what comes up. But man, these cylinder heads are jacked. The other one's not bad. I couldn't use it, but but it would have taken forever to do it, and yeah, it's just not worth it. So, but anyway, I just thought they were cool, so I bought them, and I'll use them for something, I guess. Create some garage art or something out of it. But anyway, that's all I had for you all today. Again, I appreciate you watching, and I guess we'll just check the no questions. Man, Skip's the only one that had some feedback for me. Well, either way, I do appreciate y'all. And also, too, there is a Canadian channel that I've been watching. It's called Piston Twisted Garage. I believe that's the name, garage, but Piston Twisted. I'll leave his channel link down below. He's a pretty nice guy, and the content he's produced has been pretty cool so far. I know he's going through a little bit of a change in how he's gonna produce content and the types of things, but I thought it was cool, and I'll certainly be watching it. So I'll leave a link down to his channel down below, and give him a little shout out for being such a pretty cool guy. And he's Canadian, so he's certainly a nice guy, but he's also smart and very, 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 very good with the things that he's been doing content wise, and certainly the video quality and the editing's spot on. I don't know if it's him doing it, or he's got a kid or a daughter or a wife or whatever doing it, but it's good stuff. So I'll leave that link down below too. So anyway, I appreciate it, guys. I guess I will hook up with you next time. And man, still no comments. I guess you guys aren't feeling chatty today. So anyway, I do appreciate y'all.